There's no place like home, and for Toronto FC2, they finally make their home debut here tonight. Angelo Cavalluzzo will hope to put the right foot forward for the Young Reds, and Ayo Akinola available in attack off the bench for Toronto this evening. The third time is the charm. One postponement, one relocation, but we're finally here for Toronto FC2's home opener at BMO Field as they host North Carolina FC here tonight. Welcome inside. I'm Matt Antonio, joined by Terry Dunfield for our fourth season. Happy to bring you Toronto FC2 soccer. Terry, I mentioned it. Third time is the charm. Our third crack at the home opener. We're finally here to bring it tonight for Toronto.
Yeah, it's not been ideal with a couple postponements. It's down to this harsh weather we've had here in Toronto over the winter period, and also due to the fact the incredible run that the first team have had in the CONCACAF Champions League. So they've tried to protect the pitch a little bit, and it's had a knock-on effect on TFC2 so far. We'll get to that a little bit more as the broadcast goes on. First, let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings board. You see Louisville City 4-0 atop the table to start the campaign. Great start for them. A little bit farther down, North Carolina and Toronto, both on the outside looking in as they will look to push towards that top 8. We're going to profile off the top Noble Okello, making just his second appearance for Toronto, Terry. And first start for TFC2 at just 17 years of age. He's got so much potential. He's got a wonderful profile, 6'4", tall, rangy. He's got an excellent range of passing. He's a competitor. He had a very good preseason as well with the first team. Drew plaudits from Greg Vanny, captain Michael Bradley. On the other side, we're going to take a look at a familiar face for TFC fans and a former teammate of Terry with both Toronto and Canada, that being Kyle Becker. Yeah, a very technical player. I played in midfield with him. Not the most mobile, but if given time and space, he can really hurt you. He had an excellent season last year with the San Francisco Deltas, won the NASL last year, Matt. It is a little bit of a cool evening here tonight in Toronto, about 4 degrees Celsius. Not a whole lot of wind, though. Conditions should be comfortable down on the pitch for both of these clubs. Toronto FC2 looking for their first victory of the season. North Carolina FC coming off a victory will look for 2 in a row. We will tee up the lineups and more when we return to Toronto right after this. On the sites of the Canadian National Exhibition in BMO Field, the temporary new home for Toronto FC2 this season, moving down from the Ontario Soccer Centre to downtown
Toronto for 8 home matches here this season. Let's take a look at the starting 11 for North Carolina FC. Alex Tambakis will be the man in goal. Donovan Iwolo will be up top. They've played a 4-4-2 earlier in the season, might be a 4-5-1 here tonight. And for Toronto FC 2, Angelo Cavalluzzo became a fan favorite last year. He will be manning the goal. Sean Hundle, who led the team in goal scoring last season, will be the attacker up front for Toronto. Laurent Gaillou is the new man at the helm for Toronto FC 2. Jason Bent graduating up to an assistant role on Greg Vanney's first team staff. And Laurent is excited for the challenge this year here, Terry.
He really is. He had a wonderful career as a player in the French top league, managed in France as well. His next port of call was to Toronto as the academy director, and then this season took the reins of Toronto FC while combining academy director role.
On the other side, it is Colin Clark for North Carolina. This is his 7th season at the helm of the franchise, which was formerly the Carolina Railhawks. As I mentioned, they were in the NASL. They are not an expansion side into USL. They have slid over from the NASL into the United Soccer League for the action this season, and they picked up their first USL victory last time out with a big intrastate battle against the Charlotte Independents, a road victory, a 2-0 win for North Carolina last Saturday, Terry.
Yeah, and a much-needed win after 3 losses. I thought they played quite well, took their opportunities in the second half when they came their way. Rios, he scored their first goal. He's not starting tonight. He's their only change in that team. He starts on the bench tonight.
Daniel Rios leading the team in goal scoring so far this season. He has 2 of the club's 4 goals, and he is probably pleased with the result that happened on this pitch last night. He is a Mexican under-20 player, and he is actually on loan to North Carolina from Chivas Guadalajara, the team that was victorious here last night against TFC in the first leg of the CONCACAF Champions League final. We are underway here at BMO Field. Toronto FC 2 wearing their red kits. They're going from right to left on your screen. North Carolina in the all-white uniforms, gold numbers on the back, and they are possessing in midfield. Here is DJ Taylor on the right side, looking to push it up for Steve Miller. It's knocked away. And there's Vino for Toronto, wearing number 88, making his TFC 2 debut. 2 players making their debut for the Young Reds tonight. Mino wearing number 88 and Kudle wearing number 32. He's up on the right side. And I mentioned Noble Okello making his season debut. He got into 1 game at the tail end of last season.
Mino, he's an interesting player, Argentinian midfielder. He's a little bit different to what TFC2 have. Very technical player. He's happy playing in gaps, and he should bring in other dimensions to TFC's play, especially on the attacking front. Came from the Uruguayan First Division.
There's Miller, pressured by a pair of Toronto defenders. Taylor trying to find Miller, streaking down that right side. Becker in the area as well, cleared by Boskovic. That's Kudle on that right side, but it comes over for Pibo Due. Pushes forward for Iwolo. Cross cleared away. And Kudle again with it for Toronto. Not able to get around Due.
Kudle's a real exciting player. He's come up from TFC3, another academy graduate. On his day, he can be very exciting. He's explosive, very good 1v1. Great opportunity for him tonight.
It's played forward by Fudi Danso, wearing number 98 for the visitors. He was named to the USL Team of the Week for this past week in Week 5. He's a real solid presence, a veteran on that back line for North Carolina. 60 appearances in MLS, spread between Portland and Montreal. 19 caps for Gambia, scoring a pair of goals in international duty as well.
North Carolina have tons of experience at the back. Also his partner, Michael Harrington, over 160 appearances in the MLS. Danzo goes back to North Carolina, where he started his career. Came over from Gambia, went to university in North Carolina. So his career's gone full circle. Might not have the legs he had when he was in Portland, had a short spell in Montreal, but tons of experience, real physical center half. He reads the game extremely well.
Toronto possessing in midfield. Pass for Waja. One touch from Okello, back out to Anconi. And this will get pushed all the way back to Angelo Cavalluzzo. Didn't hit that quite as well as he would like. Cavalluzzo in the, I guess you would call it a light green goalkeeper's kit tonight, and it's surprisingly close to the color of uniform that North Carolina is wearing. Normally a little bit more distinction in the uniforms.
A little tricky. Yeah, so it's off-white. Good chance for him tonight. He conceded 4 in the last game. Maybe could have done better with a couple of them. The first one, he could have been off his line a touch quicker, but you always want to put that right, and head coach Laurent Gayou's shown some confidence in him tonight and given him another chance.
Had the majority of the starts last year, but split time with Mark Pace, who's no longer with the organization. Gianluca Catalano is the backup here tonight, as that's a hard foul from Kyle Bornathan. And it looks like he's going to go into the book in the 5th minute here.
Yeah, you always want to make an impression and really set your stall out at the start of the game. Bornathan just goes in a little bit hard. It's late. He's just trying to lay a glove on the left winger. DeLove just catches him late. Easy one for the referee. Now he's going to have to ride a tightrope for the rest of the game on a yellow card.
Finishing up that note on the Toronto goalkeeping. Mark Pace no longer with the organization. Catalano is the backup here tonight, but they've brought in a couple of keepers in Caleb Patterson-Sewell and Drew Shepard, who will be in the mix for playing time with Cavalluzzo, but a nice nod to give Cavalluzzo the start in the home opener tonight after he played so well, basically out of nowhere for Toronto last season.
He was excellent. For me, he was TFC's player of the year last year. It's easy to say at 5'10", 5'11", that he was maybe not quite tall enough, but his shot stopping's excellent. He's got great distribution, and he's really found a role with TFC too.
Had a couple of appearances on the USL Team of the Week, a save of the week, and I believe he was in contention, and I believe finished 2nd in the voting for Save of the Year on USLsoccer.com.
Off the pitch, he's got a fantastic character as well. He spends a lot of time in the academy as a goalkeeper coach, and just the type of character you want in and around the club.
Injury to Clint Irwin essentially gave him the opportunity last season, as Alex Bono getting the lion's share of the work with the first team, and Mark Pace being called up to work as the backup. Allowed Cavalluzzo, who's well off the line here, pushes that forward, allowed Cavalluzzo to take the chunk of the playing time with TFC2. Mino. In the middle of the park, Aiden Daniels wearing the captain's armband tonight. Over the weekend was signed to an MLS first team contract by Toronto FC. One of 3 TFC2 players, along with Ryan Telfer and Liam Frazier, who both drew into the starting 11 in Colorado on Saturday.
Yeah, Aiden Daniels travels to Colorado, but gets to the bench. That'll be a great experience from here. Waja, he's very strong in the tackle, real competitive midfielder, plays it into Sean Hundle here. Sean Hundle uses his body extremely well. Danzo just gets a little bit too tight to him. He rolls him, draws the contact. Great free kick chance for TFC2.
Aiden Daniels, one of 2 members standing over this. Almost don't recognize Aiden without those long flowing locks. He'll have a go at it, and it's a good diving save by Tim Backus.
Important, he kept hold of that as well. TFC2 player there, right ready for the rebound.
The first good scoring chance of the evening coming to Toronto FC2 off that free kick taken by Daniels. And he struck it well, got it by the wall, and forced Tim Backus into a good save.
Looks as though North Carolina is shaping up 4-4-1-1. Kyle Becker's got a little bit of a free roll to cause TFC problems, find gaps to play in.
Here's Danso. Chip forward for Taylor. DJ Taylor looking to cross in. That takes a deflection. Boskovic there to clear, and it's a handball and a free kick to Toronto. Let's take another look at that save by Tembakis off the Toronto free kick.
Yes, good technique from Daniels. Doesn't really have the right pace on it and maybe precision to really hurt Tembakis. Steady strike from Aiden Daniels.
And you mentioned, Terry, important that he held on to that. Robert Boskovic was in the area. There's a couple of North Carolina defenders sniffing around as well, but if Tembakis does not secure it, the rebound kicks out at the right angle. Toronto's probably putting that in the back of the net and have a 1-0 lead.
Good idea from Waja there, just overhits it a little bit. I like that run from deep from Mino.
Played up on the left side for Bjornathan. Bjornathan looking to cross. Instead, we'll push it back for Daniels.
Thought that was a good decision from Bjornathan. He only had Sean Hundle in the box. Just keeps possession, keeps TFC2 ticking over.
Okello plays forward for Bjornathan, and he is going to force that out. Not quite for a corner, as it's just on the wrong side of the corner flag. It will be a deep throw to Toronto, who've maintained the majority of the possession here in the early going. They have the only scoring opportunity of the night so far as we approach 10 minutes played. Pinballs around. There's a left-footed strike from Daniels, but it is well over the goal. And that will be out for a goal kick.
It'll be interesting to see how Aiden Daniels plays this left wing position. He's not really a natural winger. You'll see him cut inside, and Bjornathan, I think he'll have the run of this left flank.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportsamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. Referee waving off any wrongdoing there, but danger still present for North Carolina. It takes a deflection and is cleared as Hundle, who's able to push it over for Onconi, and Toronto will settle things down. And Onconi not able to connect with his teammate Kunle there.
Interesting starting position from Sean Hundle last season under Jason Bent. He was playing a little bit higher. He's a little bit more connected under Laurent Guillou.
This is pulled down by Ewolo. Becker not able to handle that cleanly. Cleared by Rocco Romeo. It'll take a deflection and it'll be out for a Toronto throw, as we are just past 11 minutes played here at BMO Field, scoreless between Toronto FC2 and North Carolina FC.
It's been a good start from TFC2 in possession. They make the pitch extremely big. Mino's very confident on the ball. He's a player you can get it into him, and he'll keep it. He'll keep TFC2 ticking over. I've been impressed with Waja so far. He's got a little bit of bite in midfield, the young Ghanaian.
Toronto playing in the 4-3-2 essentially tonight. We saw a lot last year of them mirroring the shape of the first team in more of a 3-4-2. What do you expect from Toronto this year? Do you expect Guillou to reflect Greg Vanney as often as Jason Bent did last season?
It's a tough job for Guillou, and also was for Jason Bent last year, and that you don't really know your 11 until a day before the game. A lot of factors are part of this, whether players are up with the first team, Matt, whether how players have trained the last game. So I think you need to look at each game individually. I think on the road, TFC might sit a little bit deeper, but at home, they'll look to dictate the tempo. They'll probably play from a medium block, playing 4-3-3 with a sitter in there. I'd love to see Noble Okello play a ton of minutes this season.
Becker takes the first corner of the evening for Carolina. It's played back. Cavalluzzo with the left boot will push it towards midfield. That's off the head of Kunle, being chased down by Mino. This will be out for a Toronto throw.
If TFC2 are to be competitive this year, Matt, and really get in and around the playoffs, they need a player that, one thing over the first 3 seasons, they haven't had a player hit double digits. They need a number 9. They need somebody that can score goals consistently. And I know the mandate's a little bit different with TFC2 to say in North Carolina who want to win the championship. And that part of the goal for Laurent is going to be to get players into the first team. If you can get 2-3 players consistently up with the first team, a little bit like Raheem Edwards last year is now with the Montreal Impact.
It's interesting you say that, Terry. A lot of the expectations among some of these teams in the USL might be a little different. Obviously, you want to win every game, finish as high up in the standings as you can. But you mentioned for a team like Toronto and several others, they are a way to develop younger players into their MLS sides. As we see Becker with his free kick, it's still available. Handball to North Carolina, and Toronto will take the
He's had a good start to the game. Fortune in midfield. Look for him to break forward and get in and around Owolo up top.
To finish off that last point, there are some teams that are not necessarily, I don't want to call them developmental teams, but they're there to help get those young players more minutes. But then you do have franchises like North Carolina or an FC Cincinnati who are almost auditioning to be MLS franchises, and they're going to want to put the best of the best product forward in signing veteran players and be able to shoot for the top of the table and the title, like you mentioned.
And with MLS kicking on, I think you're seeing players dropping down to the USL and using it as a platform and a springboard to get into the MLS one day, not only to see clubs step up, but players as well. And the league's really progressing nicely each year. We've been doing this for three years now. We see it getting better and better, but there'll be a personal pride amongst this group of players and the coaching staff that, look, they want to go out there and win every week. And we saw the team huddled before the game out on the pitch, and they're not talking about developing, they're talking about winning that game. And I think that winning mentality is important as well in your development.
Earlier, Aiden Daniels, a nice play there to anticipate the pass, broke it up and had an opportunity for Toronto. Just couldn't link up with Sean Hundle as he was anticipating Hundle sweeping in behind the defender. It rolled harmlessly towards goalkeeper Tambakis. And North Carolina, I should say, in possession once more. Up on the right side, that is DJ Taylor. Plays in for Miller. There's a cross. Knocked away by Romeo. Boskovic in there as well. And cleared. And North Carolina hollering for a penalty, but a good aggressive challenge there from Boskovic, the defender for Toronto.
Yeah, his positioning is excellent. What a great ball from Miller. Miller playing a little bit higher up the pitch today. So far this season, he's played it right back. Just whips it into that area of uncertainty and behind the back four, and probably just out of reach of Cavalluzzo.
North Carolina finding their footing a little bit here over the last 5 minutes. They have been the ones taking it to Toronto. Offside flag is up as Owolo was in behind the line there.
Yeah, they look like a dangerous team on the counter when they win possession. They're quite quick in transition, and they definitely have 2 or 3 players, as we've seen, Fortune, Becker, Miller on this right-hand side. If they've got time and space, they're going to hurt you.
Pushed forward by Okello, not able to link up with Kunle.
I didn't think the run from Kunle was great there. I think the space was to feet there to go long and check and look to get it to feet. It was a difficult ball for Okello to hit.
Kunle working along that right side again and is dispossessed, and this will come into the middle of the park for Footy Denso. Over for DJ Taylor. We are past a quarter of an hour in Toronto. Still looking for the opening salvo. This will be out for a throw to the visitors.
On Coney, just playing out of position a little bit. We've seen him play at center half or right or left-hand side of a back three. He's slotted back in at right back today after overcoming an injury.
Miller's cross takes a deflection off of Bjornathan and will be out for another North Carolina corner.
It was good movement there from Fortune in midfield. Just pulled off the shoulder of Mino, found a little pocket of space to play, and again, Miller finds himself in an excellent position, and he'll never turn that opportunity down to put crosses in the box.
Looking for Becker, making a run towards goal there, but again, well read by the Toronto defense. Taylor trying to whip that high in the air and long across into the far corner of the pitch. Comes down for Kunle. Kunle has some support with Wadja. And well defended by North Carolina that time.
Yeah, good experience from Harrington. Just one man too many from Kunle, but you just saw a glimpse there, Matt, of that explosive pace that he has. If he could add decision-making to his game, he could be a real top player. Still young and has lots of time to develop.
They're going to award the free kick to Toronto here after Mino was shoved from behind and came down with his hand on the ball. North Carolina was anticipating a free kick in their direction. Instead, it will go to Toronto, taken quickly and played now over to the near side for Boscovich.
It's clever from Mino, that drawing that foul from Fortune, and a little bit of South American play there, and maybe he could teach one or two of these nice Canadians some of the South American antics.
Headed over towards Sean Hundle. Good play by Becker. Toronto able to win it back. Here's Mino with some space in the middle. Will float it out to the right side for Kunle. Kunle taken to ground by Due, but a good piece of defending. Hundle, Mino, a little bit of a heavy first touch. He's hauled down, and it will be a free kick from just outside the area for Toronto. And Mino has been right in the middle of things for Toronto in the opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, he came to TFC with a little bit of a niggling injury, and it's like he's been let out of the penalty box tonight. He's shown a ton of hungriness, and I think he just wants to show everybody at the club what he can do. Real deft touch from Sean Hundle, and again, draws a foul off Fortune. Lucky to not get a yellow card there.
We saw Daniels take the first free kick. Mino was standing over the ball as well at the time as an option. It looks like Mino, who won the foul, or won the free kick, I should say, is going to be the one to deliver this. Tough spot for him, very close and right on, so doesn't have much of an angle to work with, and he pounds it right into the wall. Not yet cleared by North Carolina. That's Becker who's back, and with the left boot, will send it out past midfield.
It was set up, Matt, more for a left footer on that side. Tries to go over one of the biggest walls I've seen in USL so far. Just isn't able to get it up over it.
It's going to take, I think, Terry and I, or at least myself, Terry's much more experienced down at this pitch, calling all the radio games for the first team. We're a lot higher up than we're used to at the Ontario Soccer Centre, and the depth perception is a little bit off. Tough to gauge the angle of you know, where the ball is traveling. But this is a great facility here. We're in a great position to call the games, and very happy to be calling more games here at BMO Field. We had a couple here last year, 3 I believe, and Toronto FC 2 all time at BMO Field are 1, 2, and 2. In their cameo appearances here at the first team stadium.
And that record probably doesn't tell how well they've played. There's been some very good performances in there and conceded a couple of late goals. But TFC, when they've come and played at BMO, TFC 2, sorry, they played with a real skip to their steps, playing under the bright lights and big pitch. And you can see tonight, I think they're enjoying their time out there going forward. They're moving the ball nicely. Some of the link-up play has been great. He's been excellent, Mino, so far. And I think Noble's had a good start to the game, just ticking over nicely as a screen for the back four. Defensively, they've got it's real easy to see their shape. They're back in a middle block, the line of engagements, maybe 40 yards out, and they're looking to break from that defensive shape if they can turn that ball over in a good area.
We need to try and get Jordan Hamilton into the 11 here as often as possible. It seems whenever he plays here with Toronto FC 2, he finds a way onto the score sheet. Had a pair of goals last summer when we did a game here, a 2-2 draw against the Charlotte Independents, tied the game in injury time, one of the dramatic games that we had here at BMO Field with the Young Reds last year.
I think he's a player that just keeps getting better and better each year. I think the coaching regime of Greg Vanny and Dan and Robin Fraser have been excellent for him, and I think he just plays to his attributes now, and started the game on the weekend against Colorado TFC's last MLS game.
Here's Mino, played over for Hundle, and he just puts it over the bar. Oh, an excellent play there from Toronto as Mino darting through the area and finding Sean Hundle in an open pocket.
Mino, who's been the best player on the pitch, head and shoulders, very jinky here, just swivels his hips a little bit, gets a touch of luck, squares it to Sean Hundle. Ball's bouncing a little bit, but if I'm completely honest, it sits up nicely for his left foot. He just leans back slightly, needs to get his hips over top of that and hit it into the ground. Great opportunity for Sean Hundle.
Hundle, as I mentioned off the top, led the way for Toronto FC2 last season with 7 goals in 22 appearances. Second on the team was Jordan Hamilton, 5 goals in 9 appearances for TFC2 last season. We were just talking about Jordan, and like you said, he has continued to develop over his years with the club, and was able to put that finishing touches in whenever he played in the USL last season.
It's not easy for Hamilton with Canadian international rickets and someone by the name of Javinko and Eltador up top. Not an easy front two to break into, but whenever he's had opportunities, I didn't think he was particularly great against Colorado playing off the left-hand side, but he takes his chances, and I think he's an important player in TFC's roster right now. We touched on it at the start of the broadcast, Matt, that if TFC are going to be competitive in the USL, they need a striker that's going to score goals and then score 10, 15 goals. And I think that's a classic example that really, that at a minimum, Sean Hundle's got to hit the target there.
Linesman does put the flag up. Cavalluzzo not able to get to the line in time.
Yeah, a couple times with his distribution, he's not been on point tonight, and that's normally one of the strengths of Cavalluzzo's game.
So it will be a third corner for North Carolina as we tick towards 25 minutes played here at BMO Field. Still awaiting our opening goal between Toronto and North Carolina. On a chilly evening down by Lake Ontario. It's headed over, and this will be out for a goal kick. Fans, hear exclusive stories directly from the USL's players in USLsoccer.com's From the Pitch, with written and video content that provides unfiltered access and a first-person look into the professional game and players' everyday lives. Mino gets a little bit of a tug around the neck there and wins the free kick.
You can see him a little bit animated there. I think this is the 3rd time Fortune's fouled him.
It looks like he's maybe starting to get under the skin of the North Carolina players already, 25 minutes in. A little bit of a thorn in the side.
Moves a little bit like a former TFC player. Don't know if you remember him, Matt, Eric Avila, who's a clever player, technical, excellent at playing in between the lines and just wriggling out of trouble.
Toronto pushing forward. And that was, I believe, Waja.
On Coney.
Oh, it was on Coney,
yeah,
77.
He just forced it a little bit there. He found himself in a position where he wasn't comfortable. When you're new to a position, he's new to this fullback position, sometimes it's easier to just play yourself into the game, play a little bit safe. Once you start taking touch 3 and 4, then all of a sudden your head goes down and you're not maybe seeing a clear picture in front of you.
Mino gets that clear for Bjornathan. Up to left wing for Hundle. Comes back to Mino. Chips that over the head of Taylor, looking for Hundle to run onto it. Taylor will have to play it back to his keeper. Tambakis out to his defender. Bjornathan. Boskovic. Cavalluzzo backpedaling and has to get away from the oncoming pressure and chases this into the corner and is just going to have to send it out for a throw. And he's going to have to scoot back towards his goal, but Toronto defends well and thwarts any potential danger. And now Aiden Daniels pressing forward for Toronto. Daniels trying to work his way in. That's Waja out on the far right side for Kunle. On Coney. In for Daniels. Daniels, nifty bit of footwork there to shed a tackler. Here's Bjornathan. Bjornathan looking to cross. He does. Kunle not able to get there. Loose ball comes to Okello and Mino. Toronto ramping up the pressure here as we approach a half hour played. Boskovic over for Romeo. Just out of the reach of Okello.
Good phase of play here for TFC too. No surprise, Mino and Aiden Daniels have been involved. Good start to the game from both those two. It looks like they've got a nice relationship built already. A pair of them always looking for one another.
It's Kunle. Out for Waja. Hundal. Not at an angle to take a shot. Tried to free it up there for Kunle. There's a left-footed strike, and it's over the goal from Brandon on Coney. But a good bit of pressure from Toronto over the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, great ball in from Waja into the feet of Sean Hundal. He tries to flick it back for a shot at the edge of the box for Kunle. Thought he might have been better there, Matt, to just take a touch and look to almost post up there and let the play develop. Just tries to flick it off, doesn't quite come off.
There's DJ Taylor running that down on the right side. He's going to try and cross it over. Here comes the Becker, and a good block there. I believe it was Romeo who got the touch to it and forces a corner to North Carolina. It was Kyle Becker who was there looking for the opening goal.
Yeah, all comes from a good header from Miller on halfway. North Carolina plays out of TFC's press. A loose ball drops to Kyle Becker at the edge of the box. All important block from Rocco Romeo. I think that's sneaking into the bottom corner. But huge header one on the halfway line from Miller, which just opened TFC up. TFC were just a touch disjointed there.
Toronto's defended well off their set pieces so far in this first half, and once again able to clear relatively easy off that corner.
It's a good point, Matt, and some of the delivery from Kyle Becker's been spot on. His set piece stuff is excellent. He's got a wand of a right foot, and to be fair, he's very two-footed. He's got a very good left foot as well.
Daniels pushing forward once again for Toronto. Daniels to his right foot and sent it over.
Great play from young Aiden Daniels. He's really stepped up in the captaincy role tonight. TFC win the ball in the middle of the park, and then all of a sudden they spring in transition. Aiden Daniels is 1v1 here. Really attacks the North Carolina defender. He tries to set himself, open up the angle, and tries to bend it into the top corner. Maybe misses by a couple feet. Thought Kunle could have stayed away a little bit more to even isolate the 1v1. Great positive play from Aiden Daniels.
Noble Okello trips up Becker, and a free kick awarded to North Carolina.
TFC's midfield trap worked a treat there. When they turn that ball over, they're going to look to attack extremely quickly like they did.
That's Graham Smith up for Becker.
Good touch from Kyle.
Looking for Iwolo in the middle once again, and he sort of fanned on it. Boskovic sends that straight up in the air. Takes a bump from Miller. They still battle for it, and it's finally won clean by Daniels. Hundal, last touch to North Carolina.
Been impressed with Miller so far. 2012, he was drafted by the Montreal Impact, wasn't signed, had spells in Denmark, Wilmington, Tulsa, been with Carolina since 2015. Got 1 goal in 4 games this year. Versatile as well, can slot in at right back.
Bjornathan trying to play that through Miller, and unsuccessful. It's going to be out for a North Carolina throw.
Type of player like Miller, he's important. If you're going to do well, I think, in this league, an experienced player like him, 28, really knows the league and doesn't really fit into TFC2's module of developing young players, but sometimes having an experienced player like Miller really helps. A player that you know exactly what you're going to get from.
Becker pulls this down in the middle. Well defended again by Toronto.
He's had a couple of good tackles at the edge of the box. Boskovic just nipping in at the right moment.
Offside flag up.
Yeah, Sean, I think Sean's probably used to playing in a front two. It's important when you lead that line on your own, you get across the pitch and you're an outlet for the defenders, whether it's to feet or into the channels. You can't just sit in the middle in between the 2 center halves.
Washa for Daniels. Daniels working a 1v2, able to slip through. Momentarily, it's Hundle. It takes a deflection and it's in, but the offside flag is up. Daniels definitely in behind the line, and it just kind of ricocheted off him. Hundle didn't take it well on the first touch, had an opportunity to put it at goal, and it ricocheted off Daniels into the back of the net.
I wasn't sure how Daniels was going to do out here on the left wing, but he's been excellent. He's been great 1v1. It all comes from Waja picking up a second ball in the middle of the park, finds its way outside to Daniels, and sometimes when you defend in 2 against 1, you get in each other's ways a little bit. Fortuitously, it falls to Hundle, and he just lashes at it a little bit, just pulls the neck off of it, and it deflects in off of Daniels. Easy one for the lineswoman to call offside. I think TFC, Matt's biggest threat's been down this left-hand side with Mino and Daniels combining.
And Mino like, again winning the ball back there for Toronto.
It seems like Sean Hundle likes to drift to this left-hand side naturally as well a little bit.
Mino. Daniels. Okello. Romeo. As played out by Onconi, will be a North Carolina throw. So we are inside the final 10 minutes of the opening half. It has been a strong half for Toronto. They've defended well, had a couple of opportunities. The most dangerous coming off the set piece from Aiden Daniels.
Sean Hundle had the cutback volley as well that he could have done a little bit better with on his left foot.
There's DJ Taylor. Steve Miller crossed in and cleared by Boskovic. There's Mino. Not able to corral it. And carries it out of play.
Good move for Harrington, I think, coming back to North Carolina after playing a lot of games in the MLS for KC, Portland, Colorado, Chicago. He's from North Carolina, comes back at 32 to his hometown, and great platform to play your football still in the USL and be a leader for some of the younger players in this squad and pass on some of the experiences he's had and successes he's had. I think he won the Open Cup with KC in 2012, so great signing for Colin Clark.
Hundle wins the free kick there. for Toronto. The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter. Terry, we forgot to take our customary pre-match photo to put up on Twitter and tag at USL. Home opener, everybody's excited. And we got caught up in the excitement, forgot. Maybe at halftime.
I think also North Carolina are a little bit excited. I think when you come in, not every week you get to play in a big 30,000-seater stadium like this. I know it's not full, but I think they're enjoying playing in a wonderful environment of BMO as well. So I think that's something you have to deal with too when you come here, is the opposition enjoy playing here as well.
They'll be at another big stadium on Saturday, not quite as big as BMO Field, but they'll be at TD Place in Ottawa, taking on the Fury on Saturday as they wrap up their two-game Canadian road trip. Daniels pushing forward for Toronto again, looking for that opening goal. Here's Waja, and he strikes it off the back of his captain. And Daniels once again hit by a teammate while in an offside position. Yeah, the attack just slowed down there a little bit. Again, Daniels dynamic, driving from this left-hand side across the pitch. I thought they could have got the ball to Kunle a little bit quicker. Waja just slowed the attack down and eventually took the strike on and hits Daniels in the back. And not what you want when it's a couple degrees above freezing. Slap right in the back. Almost would have preferred a rainstorm tonight. It seems to be that the home side does well in the rainstorms here. Think about some of the Champions League, CONCACAF Champions League action we've seen over the last couple of months here. Toronto playing well in the rain. The East Final in 2016 against Montreal, Leg 2. A Toronto FC2 victory here, one of their first games back in 2015 here. In a rainstorm, Jordan Hamilton with the only goal in the match over the Wilmington Hammerheads. It's incredible where the club's come in the last couple of years, and so many big nights under the lights. Great header there from Rocco Romeo and composed from Boskovic to go back to Cavalluzzo. But there's been some real special nights, and TFC played Chivas Guadalajara last night, as you touched on, Matt. And the one sort of couple of people, I guess, the grounds crew, I'm sure they weren't hoping for rains tonight, and yeah. I think they've done a wonderful job on the pitch. It's cutting up a touch, but both teams still able to play some good football so far on it. And for any of the fans tuning in, either TFC2 fans or North Carolina fans as well, we've mentioned a couple of times the delay in getting the home opener. They were supposed to play Saturday, March 31st, and that game was postponed. There was worry about the first team had played the night before, and then they had a CONCACAF game on Tuesday that was obviously previously unscheduled when the USL schedule came out. So postponed that match because of you know, the wet conditions or the bad pitch conditions. They actually went and played in Ottawa a friendly, and they beat them 2-0. But unfortunately, the points obviously don't count in the league. But. And then the following week, they were to play Pittsburgh here on the Saturday, but again, some concern over the quality of the pitch and the amount of minutes that would be played on it, as we see an opportunity here down the right side for Kunle, but a good read there from Tambakis to come out sliding and snatch it up off the foot of the Toronto striker. And so then that game was actually just moved right to Pittsburgh. Toronto forfeiting the home match, so it was moved to Pittsburgh and still played on that day in Toronto. And all the last minute changing and whatever, difficult on a young squad, losing 4-0 in Pittsburgh against a more very veteran experienced club. Team, exactly. And that change came at the 11th hour, and it's not like, I believe it was the Thursday or the Friday that we were getting ready, and then the news came out that the game was going to be moved. And not only do you lose home field advantage, you also have a 10-12 hour bus trip to Pittsburgh. You're now playing on turf. You're not playing here at BMO. So I asked Laurent what his thoughts on that were as soon as it happened. He said, oh, they're just challenging us because we're so good. He's got a wonderful sense of humor. So that's the reason for the the multiple delays, and like we mentioned off the top, unseasonably cold and rainy for mid-April this year, and so the pitch had a bit of a tough time draining. It's in great shape considering everything that it's gone through and all the extra action that it's been put through. And Toronto coming up on the counter again here as we're inside the final 2 minutes before halftime, as Mino slowing things down for Toronto, playing back for Bjornathan, and now Boskovic. That's Romeo, and again Boskovic, who really emerged as a good option for Jason Bent on the back line last year, logging a lot of minutes in defense for Toronto and continuing his career development. Bjornathan crossing in, that takes a deflection and will be out for a Toronto throw.
Great pass there from Mino. I like how he just delayed it. He was delaying that pass. He was sucking Smith in, and then when the timing was right, when Bjornathan got there, the weight on the pass was, and the detail on the pass was perfect for Bjornathan to put it in. I think he's been a very good pickup.
Bjornathan, Daniels, Mino. Daniels, pressured by Becker, not able to play into Mino, but it is out. Last touch to Becker. Toronto will throw. We are less than a minute to halftime. Don't imagine we'll have more than a minute added on, if at all. Officiating crew may just decide to head in for a hot chocolate break. But Toronto will try to have something to say about that and put themselves on the board if they can.
Hot chocolate break? Do we still do hot chocolate breaks? And they'll have some oranges, the players at halftime.
It's freezing for these games, Terry.
Maybe Aiden Daniels' mom brought some oranges for the boys at halftime.
We could get some hot chocolate up here.
We definitely didn't get that at the Ontario Soccer Center.
Good pizza, though.
It tasted like cardboard.
I have a very low bar for good pizza, I guess.
I thought you were Italian.
I'm just kidding. There's the halftime whistle. No time added on. No goals scored, but a good half of football, I think, played by both sides. I think both sides will be pleased with how they've done here in the opening 45, Terry.
Yeah, I think 0-0 is probably a fair result on the balance of play. I've been impressed by Mino in particular. Waja's been good on his debut. Young Okello's broke up play nicely. I don't think he's given the ball away so far. And TFC2's probably biggest threat has been Aiden Daniels playing off this left-hand side.
We'll see what adjustments are made at halftime, if any substitutions come on. Laurent Gaillou managing his first home game for Toronto FC2, and we are scoreless at the half. We're going to have a ton for you coming up in our halftime show. We will take a look at some of the scores around the league and upcoming schedules for both of these clubs. Terry and I will delve into the first half highlights as well when we return to BMO Field. We're back at BMO Field. A scoreless first half between Toronto FC 2 and North Carolina FC. It is the home opener tonight for the Young Reds. They look for their first victory of the young season. Matt Antonio back with you here at halftime, joined by Terry Dunfield. It was a back and forth opening 45 minutes. Both teams with their opportunities. Toronto maybe the best chance of the opening half coming off that free kick from Aiden Daniels. But as we mentioned before the break, both teams got to be pleased with how they've come out to start.
Yeah, I think both teams have passed the ball well. Defensively, they've been very organized. Opportunities have been few and far between a little bit. Kyle Becker had a chance where, like a second ball he picked up at the edge of the box for North Carolina. I thought Sean Hundle had a great opportunity after some great work from Aiden Daniels, and it just sort of sat up for him a little bit. He wasn't able to hit the target there. And, of course, TFC2 had that offside goal that hit Aiden Daniels and went in, and I think the assistant referee got that one spot on.
Let's take a look at the highlights from that opening 45 minutes, some of the plays that we touched on during that conversation. But here's that free kick from Daniels, and a good diving save made and no rebound, as you mentioned.
Yeah, Aiden Daniels, he's been excellent off the left-hand side. Last season, predominantly played as a midfielder. I think he's enjoying himself. He's out on this left-hand side. He's been dynamic. He's been direct. He's had a nice partnership with Mino, the young Argentinian. He's been excellent on his debut. He's been jinky. He's been difficult to tackle. He's comfortable receiving the ball under pressure. And this is the Sean Hundle chance. I think he needs to just get his hips over top of that ball, hit it into the ground, and really test the North Carolina defender. Some of the hold-up play from Sean Hundle's been a little bit hit and miss. I'd like to see him sometimes just take the ball under control, take one or two touches, and bring others into play. Here's a Kyle Becker opportunity. Just picks up a second ball, comes onto it perfectly, and a great block from Rocco Romeo. I think that might just sneak into that bottom corner.
Aiden Daniels with another opportunity here late in the half, a right-footed strike. It looked like he was trying to curl it into the top corner and just missing that spot there.
Yeah, he might like that one back. He opened his body extremely well to bend it into the top corner. I think the young 17-year-old Nobra Kello, he's been excellent. Just sat in front of the back four. His game's been very simple tonight. He hasn't lost possession on the ball. His passing range has been nice, and he's made some nice interceptions, and he's clogged passing lanes well.
There's a look at the stats through the opening 45. No goals, as we highlighted. 8-4 the shots for Toronto. The only shot on goal coming from Aiden Daniels off that free kick. Possession slightly tilted towards North Carolina. And the corners all for North Carolina. Toronto have not been able to penetrate in that area just yet, but they've gotten their opportunities, and they seem to be right there. Right now, they are one shot away from taking the lead. Offense has been a little bit hard to come by through the first 3 games of the season. Only 1 goal, that coming in their first game of the season. What do you think the message is in the locker room quickly before we go to break here, Terry?
I think just same as, and that's one of the most difficult messages. I think Mina, he's been excellent, and he's added another dimension to TFC2's plays. He's been excellent receiving the ball in pockets, and I think some of his passing and precision, his passing's been good. And if one player is going to unlock this North Carolina defense, it's going to be Mino, or possibly Aiden Daniels driving from this left-hand side.
Those two have been fun to watch for sure, and we'll see what they have in store for us in the second half and what other adjustments we might see. All eyes in Toronto on TFC2 tonight as you see a beautiful shot of the Toronto skyline. More to come when we continue from BMO.
Welcome to the 4th episode of The Breakdown. Once again, I've handpicked my plays of the week, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Ball sent in. Cross the way, team save, keeps it 1-0.
This clip is both attacking and defensive. You see on the Orange County counter-attack here, he does extremely well to carry his run forward, and he gives the defense of San Antonio a lot of problems. And then if you flip it now and you look at his recovery run, it's fantastic. You know, he tracks the immediate run of the attacker, and then he follows it through and continues to back up his keeper on the line. And it's a fantastic goal line clearance, and it keeps them in the game after 60 minutes.
Out. Back to Sari. Chip toward the back post. Fields, take him! And an early goal for S2.
The reason I've picked this clip is not just the finish and the header, but also if you watch Sari's assist, He backs up his winger here and he creates himself an extremely good angle to give that cross. And technically it's an extremely tough pass to make. When the ball's coming at you and you've got to give a 90-degree angle on it and cross it at the back post, it's extremely difficult because you have to think about all sorts at that stage. You have to think about the keeper coming to catch it, but then also giving the loft to get it over the defender and down. And it's a fantastic assist, and that's the reason it's in my Player of the Week.
For O-line, Von Williams. Stepped up, his number was called. Look at this, perfectly timed. It's Sunni Saad. Saad lines him up.
Sunni Saad's goal for Indy 11, for me, was created purely by Iozzi's pass here. When the ball's played into Iozzi, he takes a couple steps back, and that gives him the opportunity to get his head up and see Saad's movement. And it's a fantastic driven pass over the defence, and it's a fantastic finish into the corner with good disguise.
Stability in terms of paying so that players from the Caribbean, players from South America.
This clip is one of my favourite ones. The athletic trainer for St. Louis, is just so casual with it. I mean, he takes it out the air one-handed as if he's not done anything about it. And you know, he's caught it and throw back, just dead casual. And I think he's amazed every single player on the bench, including all his players. So as you can see from the breakdown this week, it's not just players that get on, it's also athletic trainers. So keep that in mind for future games. I hope you've enjoyed my hand-picked plays from the week on the 4th episode of The Breakdown. I look forward to seeing you next week.
That's a crazy athletic play from the athletic director.
What a snag.
One hand. I don't think either one of us would have been able to do that.
Speak for yourself. No, I'm messing.
You know, that's right. I haven't seen you I haven't seen you on the pitch or with the hands. I'm the one who played baseball of the two of us, though, Terry. So I think I've got the better chance.
Don't you use gloves?
That's besides the point. All right, Toronto FC 2 and North Carolina FC tonight. This is the first game of the week in the USL. We're going to take a look at some of the other games around the league that are worth drawing attention to. A couple of games going later on tonight. Fresno and Tulsa, Western Conference battle. Portland Timbers 2 in the Rio Grande Valley, also at 10 o'clock. And Sacramento and Colorado at 10:30. Those games all going on tonight as USL starts things off. On Saturday, Atlanta United 2 and Louisville Longhorns, FC Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. The Tampa Bay Rowdies sitting at 3-2. They will take on Real Monarchs in a cross-conference battle. And then on Sunday, a couple of games as well. Big city battle, LA Galaxy 2, New York Red Bulls 2. The Red Bulls up in second place in the Eastern Conference. Fresno and San Antonio will wrap up the week at 9 o'clock on Sunday. Here's what's making news around the league in the USL this week.
Yeah, you always want to get off to an undefeated start, and that's what 6 of these teams have done. In particular, I've been impressed by Louisville. They've had results against Tampa, Nashville, and a big away win against Cincinnati. James O'Connor is a young manager. They won the championship last year. He's got to be on the radar of MLS clubs soon. He's done a great job there. The ESPN partnership's exciting. I think it really gives the league a platform to show what they're all about and also promote the league. And Player of the Week, Belmar, Player of the Month, sorry, he's been impressive. 4 goals. He's had a nice partnership up top with Hadji Berry. He's a great age at 25. He's on loan from KC, and I think you look no further than the success Dom Dwyer had with Orlando playing in the USL. He used that as a stepping stone to get up into the MLS and show what he can do. So he's an exciting player. He comes off the left-hand side, and he's scored all types of goals.
It's an excellent recap, Terry, of what's going on around our exciting league this week. And there's an excellent shot of the CN Tower. Hopefully all the ice is finished falling off of that beautiful building. We'll have the second half kickoff when we return to BMO Field in just a few moments. 45 gone, 45 still to play here at BMO Field as North Carolina FC taking back to the pitch, waiting for their hosts to return to action, or return to the pitch, I should say. And while we await them, let's take a look at the upcoming games for North Carolina FC. Mentioned during that first half that they'll wrap up this mini 2-game road trip. They'll head to Ottawa on Saturday, then they will return home on the 28th to take on Penn FC, another newcomer in the USL this year, who are at the moment still looking for their first victory. Visit to Cincinnati, that's always a tough place to play in the sold-out stadium in Cincinnati. A couple of home matches, Atlanta and Bethlehem round out their next 5. For Toronto, they will head out on the road and take on the Richmond Kickers on the 25th. They'll be back here on the 29th taking on New York Red Bulls, then at Pittsburgh versus Penn. That's a school day game. Notice the 11 a.m. start time, then at Atlanta. One of the top players for Toronto in the opening half was Mino, the Argentine midfielder that Terry highlighted so many times during that opening half. You can see the creative juices flowing, and you know, a real energetic player that's going to be a real boost for this club this year, Terry. Yeah, and he's a little bit different to what TFC2 have, and he's a player that can open teams up. He's comfortable receiving the ball under pressure. It'll be interesting to see whether he can go at the full 45 minutes in the second half. This is his first game of the season. He's coming off an injury. He had a slight knock when he came to Toronto. So if Gayu can maybe get another 15-20 minutes out of him, that'd be an excellent debut. No scoring in the opening half, no substitutions made, just the one booking that was early on going to the left back, Kyle Bjornathan. He picked up a yellow card in the 5th minute. Toronto FC2 will be moving from left to right this half on your screen. North Carolina, they are in the white kits, moving from right to left. In case you are just joining us here this evening from BMO Field, it's the home opener for Toronto FC2, and also looking for their first victory of the season, their first points of the season, actually, as they currently sit at 0-3. North Carolina 1-3, coming off a victory last time out. I thought they were a little bit unlucky in their opening game of the season. They were 1-0 up against the New York Red Bulls too. The Red Bulls had a ton of pressure, but TFC could have gone 2-0 up but for a Ben Spencer missed penalty. They battled well against Charlotte, and then they were overrun against Pittsburgh in their last game. But definitely a great first half to build on. And with young players, it's important that you concentrate for the full 90 minutes, and that focus that they had in the first half is also there in the second. Kunle playing that in for Hundle, and he whiffed a little bit with that right foot, and a quick counter being presented here by North Carolina, and a good job by Onkoni to knock that away from Ewolo. Onkoni does really well there. Great pace to get back and backtrack, and might have been a TFC2 throw there. Thought Sean Hundle there again snatched out of that. He tries to take it on first time. Good ball from Kunle. Might have been better to take 2 touches. There's Ewolo going up with the header. And that goes up over the goal for a Cavalluzzo goal kick, and that'll give us an opportunity to look one more time at this chance from Sean Hundle. Yeah, Kunle sees that the fullback's just dropped off him a little bit. He's got half a yard to put a ball into the box, and Sean Hundle, it wasn't quite right for him to take it on first time. Should have taken 2, and here's the Iwobi chance. Good early ball into the box. He just gets across Rocco Romeo. Might have liked that one back. Tries to just do too much with the header. Just needs to glance it towards goal. Here's Daniels pushing forward, able to hurdle over a defender and maintain possession. And that shot not threatening for Tambakis. Goes to ground to snatch it, but an easy save for the Greek keeper. Good covering from the center half. Danso just comes across, sees his mate, the right back Taylor's under pressure. Just double teams Aiden Daniels. Daniels gets a good strike off. Tries to beat Tambakis to the near post. Easy save for him. Good pressure there from Kunle. Sees that Harrington's under a little bit of pressure, and then Sean Hundle carries that pressure on, forces Danso into putting it out of play. It'll be played all the way back to Tambakis. Mentioned Terry during our halftime, all eyes to this game tonight is a little bit of a rarity right now. No other Toronto sports teams in action in what has been a pretty good week. Couple of big wins for the Raptors in the playoffs, the Leafs in the playoffs as well. Toronto FC unfortunately losing that first leg last night. Here's an attack for Toronto, and Kunle sends that through the area, and it's handled easily by Tambakis. So Toronto FC2 looking to get in on the good vibes from the Toronto sports scene through this week.
Yeah, it's been an incredible last couple of weeks for sports in Toronto. The Leafs are killing it. The Raptors are so much fun to watch. TFC are crushing it in the CONCACAF Champions League. Every night there's something going on in this city, and the ownership group's fantastic here. They really back their teams, and the Toronto supporters groups and fan base, they love winning teams, don't they? And the buzz in and around the city's really special at the moment. Great ball from Rocco Romeo between lines.
Onkoni pushing forward, looking there for Okello, took a little bit of a tumble.
Okello just stepped out of his zone there. I don't think he needed to get it. I think he was in Mino's space there. Doesn't really want the ball there. It's been so good so far. He just needs to stay disciplined, keep doing what he's been doing well so far. Sat in front of the back four, connecting passes. Sometimes when you're a young player, Matt, you want to show how good you are and really express yourself on the ball. And sometimes you do too much. And I think so far for the young 17-year-old, he's been brilliant. Just keep doing what you're doing. Trust that Waja and Mino, that these are the players that are going to open up North Carolina higher up the pitch.
There's Harrington. One to the near side.
Yeah, it was
good. Due.
Sorry to cut you off there, Matt. It was good pressure from Sean Hundo, but Mino was just a yard off the press there. Great tackle again from Okello in midfield, and that's what allowed Carolina to play out there.
Mino will send that over to his left for Daniels. Daniels has Hundle to his left, delivers. Now Daniels there to give some support. Spots Bjornathan. Back to the skipper. Mino. Good interplay there with Waja. Plays through for Daniels. Sees Mino making a bit of a run. Doesn't have an avenue to deliver it to him, however. And now they'll try this near side with Onkoni. Not enough zip on that pass, and it's intercepted by Due. Onkoni able to win it back.
Chance.
Push forward for Okello. There's Kunle on the right side. Kunle will stop up, get it to his left foot. There's a right-footed strike and a good save. A one-touch shot there coming from Okello.
I thought Kunle should have put that in first time. Mino, Daniels, Sean Hundo are in the box. Just by checking back, it kills his center forward's runs. I think Okello's trying to cross it. He's not going for goal there. And again, good handling from Tambakis with 3 reds right on his doorstep. But great slip pass from Okello to Kunle. And I think Kunle lifts his head up. He doesn't see the run, so he slows the play down there. But just hit it first time, whip a ball in with pace. Test the North Carolina defenders. Almost invite the attackers to get on it there, Matt.
Good read there from Waja to disrupt that pass.
It's not the first time you've said that. He reads the game defensively extremely well. He almost opens up that passing lane, invites you to pass there, and then at the last minute he'll pick that pass up. Excellent at picking second balls up, and looks a very fit lad as well. Still full of running. He's covered a ton of ground. Again, it's his first game of the season, so it'll be interesting to see how deep he can go in the half.
This is Due. It's down to Becker. There's Douay. This is Fortune. Iwolo. This will be a free kick to Toronto. As,
they've looked good defensively, haven't they, TFC2? They've looked connected, not disjointed. A couple times in transition, they've been a little bit open, but overall, they've the defensive shape's been excellent, and each red's on the same page.
You know that the defense is going to be an area of, or at least keeping the ball out of the net, an area of emphasis for Laurent Gaillou, as team conceding 8 goals through their opening 3 matches. A pair in New York and in Charlotte, and the 4 in Pittsburgh, including the hat trick to Nico Brett. We already mentioned the difficult circumstances surrounding that game in Pittsburgh.
And I think that's why there's been some changes tonight. I think he's showing that TFC did okay for 51 minutes. That's when Pittsburgh scored their first goal, and then all of a sudden they capitulated, and it was 4-0. And I think Laurent's sort of come out and said that's not going to be acceptable. And if you're going to give up,
there's an opportunity, and it's knocked just wide.
If you're going to give up, you're not going to play, and that's maybe why we see 1 or 2 on the bench today, some more of the more experienced TFC2 players. Great move from North Carolina. It's a straight ball from Danzo forward, and it's a deep run from midfield from Fortune. He just plays off the flick off of Iwolo, times it perfectly, and I'm surprised he went with the sole of his foot there. He just tries to cushion it in with the sole of his foot to the corner. I think he needs to strike it there. He could even take a touch. I don't think he realized how much time he had. He's looked dangerous a couple times from midfield. Just that deep, well-timed run is really difficult for the back 4 to pick up if it's not tracked. Looks as though he switched side. He was up against Mino in the first half. This half, he's just playing off of Waja. I think he's had enough of tracking Mino all over that pitch, Matt.
Becker takes a bit of a tumble there as he's trying to throw in quickly.
He's just drifted in and out of the game a little bit, Kyle Becker, as he struggled to get on the ball. He had that great chance, and the ball dropped to him halfway through the first half, but a lot of good things for North Carolina happen when he's on the ball. I think they need to try to get it to him a little bit. Maybe he's trying too hard to get on the ball. He's all over the pitch. Sometimes you don't know where he's at. Maybe he could play a little bit closer to Iwobi.
They've come out and attack a little bit better here in the second half, North Carolina, but as you alluded to, Terry, the Toronto defense has been strong, and that opportunity for Fortune just a couple of minutes ago, really the only threat at goal so far in this half. But they're threatening again here. Iwolo trying to pull that down, and some jockeying there with Anconi, and it's going to be a free kick to Toronto. And
it's a good point, Matt. I think in this second half they've gone just a little bit more direct, and they're trying to play maybe over top of that TFC2 midfield, and had a little bit of success.
Watch to get exclusive video content and photography from across the USL, and make sure you follow the league's official Instagram account at USL Soccer.
They're playing quite a high line, North Carolina. I'd like to maybe see a couple of outside to in runs from Koule, maybe look to get him in that depth, in that space in behind. Danzo's not the quickest now at 34, nor Harrington at 32. Some of TFC's approach play has been excellent in front of the back 4. Can they maybe do what North Carolina are doing to TFC2 in this second half and look to play a few balls in behind? Having said that, the starting point of Tabakis in goal for North Carolina, anything in behind, he's picked off nicely.
Tambakis coming off the clean sheet after conceding 6 across the previous 3 games. Former member of Charleston Battery in 2016 and was on loan with Atlanta United last season. As another good read there from Wajah, able to intercept that pass and spring Toronto forwards with Aiden Daniels. Daniels' strike takes a deflection off North Carolina defender. Comes down to Okello.
That's good from Okello. He's in the right spot. Just keeps TFC2 ticking over. He's always that outlet player that's able to switch the point. I think Tambakis, he'll enjoy being a starter at 28. In Atlanta, he was the #3 goalkeeper. Only made 1 appearance when Brad Guzan was away on international duty. I think once you get to, I know the goalkeeper shelf life's a little bit longer than a player, but I think once you get to your sort of later 20s, you want to be playing every week and not sat on the bench.
There's Mino with an opportunity. Runs into a wall of North Carolina defenders and will kick it out for Kunle. Crossed in. Hundle not able to get on the receiving end of that. And here's Wajah.
Great ball from Kunle. Aiden Daniels has to gamble at the back post. He's just waiting for something to happen. He needs to make that run across the pitch, get in between fullback Taylor and center half Danzo. He's got himself a tap in.
Here's Mino. Mino for Hundle. Hundle. Right-footed strike, and he sends it wide.
Chance, great chance again for Sean Hundle. Again, Mino's involved. Great slip pass from him to Hundle. Hundle finds himself in a 1v1 situation. He does great here to make a yard. He's got Harrington on toast. He's twisting, he's turning. Just needs to hit it just a touch quicker. Just that split second is why Harrington's able to get back and cut the angle down, and in the end he sclaps it into the side netting. You look at that reaction, the frustration. 2 good chances he's had now. He created half a yard really well for himself. It just took him that split second too long to execute and let that shot off. Something Javinko does so well for the first team. He's got 0 back left. He gets that shot off left foot, right foot so quickly. He doesn't even allow goalkeepers to set.
There's Okello. Near side for Anconi. So it looked like that pass that was coming to Anconi took a wild hop. Maybe some divots starting to form out there as the second consecutive night in cold, wet temperatures on this pitch. A miracle they're able to get it in the shape they were after the ice storm we had on the weekend. We're going to see the first substitution of the night here, and it's going to be a North Carolina substitution. They're going to be bringing in Marcel Kenziora in favor of Andre Fortune.
Yeah, I wonder whether it'll be a change of shape here. Fortune comes out. He's worked hard in midfield. He's had a couple of chances. He's had some good dynamic runs from deep. TFC2 are been very good in this second half. They've territory-wise, they've had North Carolina pinned back after the first couple of minutes. Maybe a little bit more energy, a different type of player in the middle of the park.
Kenziora making his 3rd appearance of the season here for North Carolina. And right away, North Carolina threatening. Good defending there. Daniels the opportunity to clear, and he does.
Yeah, good play from Wajah to sense the danger, gets himself in a great position. Boskovic got caught out. Romeo goes over, delays, and Wajah just gets himself into an area to affect the play.
And we're going to see a change here for Toronto. Sean Hundle's night will come to an end after 63 minutes, and maybe a bit of frustration for the young Brampton native, as he had a couple of opportunities and he was unable to find the back of the net, and it's going to be Malik Johnson. So a like for like here. Johnson brings some speed and creativity as well.
Yeah, we've seen him more play on the right and the left of a front three, or even a little bit deeper as a 10. It'll be interesting to see whether he goes up as a number 9 and leads the line. Another exciting player, good dribbler, explosive pace, good 1v1 player. He just needs to add, for me, a final product to his game, and he's got almost 30 minutes here to show what he can do and hopefully bring a little bit of energy to TFC's attack. And I thought Sean Hundo worked hard. Unfortunately, it's a tough life for strikers at times, and you're really judged by your goals, and he's had 2 glorious opportunities and wasn't able to hit the target with either of them.
Malik Johnson made 19 appearances last season, was unable to find the goal, was on a little bit of a good run. If you remember at the beginning of the 2016 season, then had a bit of a nasty knee injury, kept him out for about 6 weeks and kind of halted his campaign, but he's got the potential in there, and we've got Kunle in here for Toronto. Tries to feed it through for Mino and just telegraphed that pass and made it very easy to disrupt.
Yeah, Danzo using all his experience there, just holds his line and picks off the pass easily. I think he read it in the paper yesterday. Really, really telegraphed pass, and it just opened up for Kunle. And as soon as he picked it up, he was looking to pass, and in the end, it was the wrong decision. He should have kept driving at the heart of the defense and wait for something to open up.
Yeah,
good play from TFC, though, to get him the ball in a great position. It was a bit predictable.
There's Zawolo, offside.
Those are the areas, though, you want Kunle on the ball. I thought Malik Johnson made a great run to the near post to create space for Mino, but the experienced Danzo wasn't shifting, and Kunle should have just kept attacking, kept running with the ball, and eventually something will open up. And if he's able to take another step, you're then able to shoot. It's almost like a 2v1 in hockey. Sometimes you need to attack that defender for something to happen.
There's Daniels down that left side. Still with it. Johnson sends it over the goal. Terry, I was just going to say that you mentioned in the first half Toronto having all kinds of success on that left side, and head coach Colin Clark must have noticed that as well, because not much has been happening on that left side until that drive there from Aiden Daniels.
Yeah, great play from Aiden Daniels. Malik Johnson in your picture there. He almost gets in the way. I don't think he was trying to pick out Johnson. He was trying to cut it back for Mino, who's maybe 12 yards out, and Johnson just gets it caught under his feet there. I think Aiden Daniels is looked more athletic this year. He's picked up a yard of pace. He's almost as quick running with the ball as he is without it. Sometimes, too, when you give a player the armband.
Yeah, springing in his step from that, the fresh contract signed on either Friday or Saturday, and was with the team in Colorado on Saturday.
Got a little taste of what it's like to travel with the first team.
See, Michael Harrington takes a bit of a spill. There's that, I guess, plastic just off beyond the pitch, and he goes to pick up that ball quickly, nearly takes out the fourth official. But appears no worse for wear at the moment.
She took it quite well, didn't she? She was like a mountain goat on that rubber.
I'm not even going to ask her. Harrington in midfield will send it to his partner, Danso.
It'll be interesting with Malik Johnson up top. I think you've got a little bit more pace. Maybe if TFC2 can win it in a good area, look to spring him in behind. I know Danzo and Harrington aren't going to want to chase him all over the pitch. Laurent Gayou's just called Malik over, give him a little bit of information.
Fans, visit the USL's Instagram story every Monday evening to watch Kelsey Steele's hat trick as she breaks down 3 key talking points from the previous week's action. Long ball for Kunle. And this will take a deflection, and it will be out for a Toronto corner. That will be their first of the evening.
Yeah, Boskovic, he's got a wand of a great left foot. Definitely has that diagonal in the locker when he's got time and space on it. he's got the ability to pick that pass out. We just touched on TFC2 looking to maybe get in behind the two center halves, and it's a great run from Waja in behind, earns his team a corner kick.
It'll be Mino to deliver, not delivered well, and cleared. That play by Boskovic actually looked very similar to one of the highlights we saw during the halftime on the Blake's take, that wonderful goal from the Indy 11 last week, and that long ball from the left-footed defender.
It's great having a left footer as a left-sided center half. It really gives you the ability to play out, and I think that's something that the first team have really added to this season to last season that they haven't had in years previous, with Chris Mavinga having a left-sided center half. And Boskovic is a little bit different, but he's got a real cultured left foot, and he's definitely won't turn down that opportunity to hit a diagonal. And maybe now the back four of North Carolina might drop a little bit deeper, and now it creates pockets of space for Mino, Waja, maybe Malik Johnson or Aiden Daniels underneath to operate in.
Creeping up towards 70 minutes played here at BMO Field. We are still looking for the opening goal between Toronto and North Carolina. And Terry, are we going to see some late game theatrics in our first broadcast of the season?
Oh, you just got me excited. I like how you teed that up.
One thing we've said over the past couple of years, you can't turn a game off here with Toronto FC2, as we've very frequently seen goals, equalizers or winners late in the game. So injured Toronto player down inside the area. I think it's, I'm not going to speculate. I think it's on Coney, yep. And Toronto is up on the counter here with Kunle working on that right side again, working a 1v2, and good defending there.
Great defending from Douay. Got a little bit of protection as well from DeLove in front of him. Looked like it just opened up a little bit there for Kunle. Wasn't able to cut it as much as he needed. Douay's done a pretty good job on Kunle here.
Second substitution is coming for Toronto. Ayo Akinola is ready to check in. And Kunle will be the one coming out for Akinola.
Thought Kunle did really well tonight. Looked dangerous, looked a threat on the right-hand side. Wasn't able to quite find that final product. Picked the ball up in some good spots. Ayo Akinola is a very exciting young prospect. Was at the U17 World Cup with the U.S. youth national team. Explosive player, comfortable with the ball at his feet. Is a goal scorer, real coup for TFC to keep him at the club. An academy graduate, had offers in Europe, but decided to stick with TFC and signed a first-team contract. And whenever I've seen him in and around the training ground, he's looked real sharp. Brampton native.
So 2 substitutions used by Toronto, 2 remaining for North Carolina, and we are going to see one of those substitutions made shortly as Marios Lomas approaching the 4th official. Free kick here to Toronto, as that was Bjornathan taken down.
Bjornathan does well there, plays a 1-2, and maybe just beats Taylor to the ball there, earns his side a free kick in a gray area. Be surprised if Colin Clark made the change now. Normally you don't see changes on corner kicks or free kicks.
Thought being maybe that if they concede here, it changes the plan.
You just lose your shape a little bit. He's going to make the change anyway. Sometimes with an attacking player, it doesn't matter as much.
Lomas is in for Ewolo.
Scored a late goal last week. A little bit of luck, but I'm sure he'll be looking to score again. First up, he's got to defend a set piece.
And it's going to be Daniels to take it. Lofts it in, a little bit too much.
Tried the Polito. Tries to do the keeper there.
Terry mentioned Lomas scoring a late goal in the victory last week. Let's take a look at that goal as it iced the victory for North Carolina over their rivals.
A little bit lucky. Keeper has an absolute beast there.
Right place at the right time, though.
And a good time to score. 86th minute, and takes off the pressure, trying to get through that last 5 minutes with only a 1-goal lead, and I'm sure it'll give him confidence for today.
And as we mentioned, a big win for this club. Their first in USL, and to do it against a cross-state rival, always a more satisfying victory, and on the road as well, against a Charlotte Independence team that was a very strong side last year.
Yeah, they're a very well-organized team. You know exactly what you're going to get from Charlotte. You're in for a game, and getting that first 3 points, that win, the monkey off your back is important.
Trying to feed Akinola along on that right side, as he's just slotted in that spot that Kunle was playing, the man he replaced.
Versatile player. Akinola can play anywhere across the front three, really. Looks comfortable in front of net when he gets an opportunity. He's got a nice composure to his game. I never had that in front of goal. I'd always get so excited. Be thinking about my celebration before I even got the shot off.
Here's an opportunity for North Carolina. That's Lomas just into the game. Fans with the left foot, but is able to find a teammate. And Cavalluzzo will control this. Yeah, Terry, we saw a highlight of your celebrations last year. It was quite obvious you'd been rehearsing that for quite some time.
No, it was always off the cuff. Lomas looks like he's gonna bring something a little bit different to Awolo up top. He's more of a conventional target man, a player you can play off of. Maybe doesn't have the same pace and movement as Awola, but maybe with having more of a focal point, Kyle Becker's got somebody to play off of. We've already seen Lomas works extremely hard, works his socks off. Looks like he's the type of player that feeds off of crosses.
Under 15 minutes to go here at BMO Field.
Ayo Akinola and Malik Johnson just swap spots. Malik's come out to the right-hand side. Ayo's gone up top. I thought that's how, as soon as Ayo came on, he would have led the line.
You think that favors Malik's strengths a little bit more?
Both players' strengths. I think Akinola is more comfortable as a 9. Having said that, for the US U17 team, he played sort of on the right or the left. He didn't play up top of it in the front three. Didn't see a whole bunch of them in the academy last year. He spent a lot of time in Bradenton in preparation for the World Cup.
Mino pulled down there, and there will be a yellow card issued. I believe it was Ken Ziora.
Wins a lot of free kicks, Mino. He's really quick to pick up that ball. He's so comfortable with bodies in and around him. He's clever. He knows how to draw a foul.
It is Ken Ziora. So 1 yellow card has been assessed to each side. Daniels lofts this in. There's a left-footed volley from Akinola, but not able to find the mark.
He's not played a whole bunch of football at this level, Akinola, but I don't think he'll be phased at all. Real confident player. Spent time in preseason with the first team as well. I know the TFC hierarchy have got high hopes for him. And from what I've seen so far, I can see exactly why.
Good bit of defending there again for Toronto.
I think it'll be good for Sean Hundle as well, having Akinola in and around, because it just adds a little bit of competition for that spot up top. I know you've got Ben Spencer and Jordan Hamilton as well, who are with the first team at the moment, but competition for places is important.
He didn't, Akinola didn't play at all in 2017 for Toronto, but he was with TFC2 in 2016. Made 10 appearances for the club, scored a pair of goals.
Yeah, scored a couple of goals on the road, scored them both in the same game. I think he's a different player this year to what he was a couple of years ago. Fitter. And I think he plays with the point to prove. There's a hungriness in his game. I like it. He's a competitor, and I think he goes out there, and I think he wants to show everyone how good he is. And I don't mind that little bit of swagger he has. Another good diagonal from Rocco Romeo. Both him and Boskovic have got an excellent range of passing. When the pitch starts to cut up like this, it's almost like playing on turf at times. You don't want to let it bounce. I think Malik Johnson could just get there before it bounces. Looks as though TFC2 might have gone to a conventional 4-4-2 at the moment. Aiden Daniels has come out to this right-hand side to see if he can get a little bit of joy. In midfield, they've almost got a diamond.
Akinola for Waja. Counter coming here from North Carolina. It's Becker. Deleuze. Harrington. It's Waja. Out to the left for Johnson. Has Mino alongside him, and you're not able to keep that in play.
You could hear Colin Clark, the manager of North Carolina, shouting onto the pitch at Harrington once he played that ball in. They've gone a little bit more direct with Lomas up top. Watch your shape, get back. I think he's a little bit wary of Malik Johnson and Akinola's pace up top.
Mentioned the good playing career of Laurent Gaillou, the manager for North Carolina. Colin Clark, a pretty successful career as well, including some international duty with Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I think it was 38 caps in the end with Northern Ireland. Had a very good career in the UK, not always in the top flight, but I've met him a couple of times when he used to coach, I think in 1999 after his career. He's been in North America that long.
There's an opportunity for his side now. It's crossed in, takes a deflection, and Cavalluzzo quick to jump on it.
I think that was the first time North Carolina have broken TFC2 down all game. Some great play from the substitute, Kanziora. North Carolina get in behind quite a flat back four of TFC2, but Boskovic does well to recover, gets into an area where the ball's going to go. It's a dangerous area and just prevents a tap-in.
There's another opportunity. Offside flag is up. They looked to have the opening goal. It was Marios Lomas, but the offside flag up on the far side of the field.
Yeah, I'd like to see another look at this one. It looked a tight one from me. Great play from Kyle Becker. Just receives it on the half turn here. Sees the pressure from Boskovic stepping out. Rocco Romeo does well to stay high. It's tough to see from that angle, but he's definitely in behind the center half, Rocco Romeo. It's just whether either of the fullbacks might have played him onside, but great awareness from Kyle Becker to see Boskovic stepping in the space in behind. Lomas has looked a threat since he's coming on. Just going back to Colin Clark, he's been coaching in North America since 1999. Had a great spell with the Puerto Rico Islanders from 2007 to 11 till he got the job in North Carolina. I actually played against his Puerto Rico team. We had a good chat in Puerto Rico one night. Said if you ever fancy playing on the island, you're more than welcome. I thought about it. It was beautiful down there on the beach. A lot of travel for away games in the old USL, I guess it was. I was playing for the Whitecaps at the time, but great guy, big personality, and This team plays now like the Puerto Rico team did back in, I guess, 15 years ago. Works real hard.
Final substitution here for Toronto. Luca Uccello will come on for Waja. It's been a good night for Waja, but Uccello in the final 6 or so minutes here will be able to provide a jolt of energy.
Yeah, I think he's looked good when he's come off the bench in previous years, Uccello. He's scored a couple of times. He gives you energy. He'll always give you 100%. Just going back to Waja, I thought Waja was excellent. Very good defensively, picking up second balls, winning balls, doing the dirty side of the game. And he also can get forward. We saw a couple of late runs in behind the back four, him causing problems. So it looks as though the young Ghanaian's been a very good pickup. I think Uccello will come on with a little bit of a point to prove. He's been the captain a couple of times this year. He's one of the senior members of this squad. So yeah, I think he was one of the players left out after the 4-0 defeat to Pittsburgh 11 days ago. Mino rides a tackle well, doesn't he?
Strong on the ball there, and because of that, Akinola has an opportunity here. He plays it over for Malik Johnson. Johnson, great save. Good quick reaction save there from Tambakis. Hit pretty direct at him, but had to be sharp.
I love the first touch from Malik Johnson. So positive. Doesn't even give the fullback a chance to get near him. Might have been better to hit it across goal. Uccello was in a great spot, but TFC switched the point very well there.
Which teams are hitting peak performance in the USL? Find out every Monday afternoon when the USLsoccer.com power rankings are released to see where your team sits after its most recent results. Toronto FC2 hoping to climb the standings and those power rankings, and a late goal here and 3 points at home would be a step in the right direction. Bjornathan still with it.
I think this has been his best performance of the season. Bjornathan's been solid at left back there. At any opportunity he's got forward, he's got a great left foot. I think as the season goes on and he starts to get fitter, he'll be a good pickup as well. A position TFC have been a bit short in, that left back slot.
That strike coming from Daniels, but wide of the mark, not challenging Tambakis.
He likes that one where he just opens up his body and he tries to bend it around into that far corner. This is TFC 2 switching the point. Akinola showing strength as well, holding off a couple of players. There's that great first touch from Malik Johnson. And the goalkeeper, Tambakis, again has been excellent. Gets his angle spot on.
There's Duet, Harrington. Inside the final 5 minutes. Plus whatever is added on. Deleuze, Harrington. Good intercept there from Okello. Daniels on Coney. Lofts forward, Harrington. Headed back in the other direction. Mino will carry that out. Will be a throw to North Carolina as we approach the 88-minute mark. Long cross looking to find DJ Taylor and forces Toronto to send it out for a corner.
Yeah, I thought it was a good run from the fullback Taylor. Nice diagonal in behind. Might have been from the substitute, Kanzura.
There's a strike off the bar. DeLuz from just inside the 18-yard box pings it off the bar.
What a strike that is. Similar sort of time when he scored against Charlotte last week. Kyle Becker's service from dead balls has been excellent. He just falls to him. Doesn't think twice. Wellies it off the crossbar. He's got Cavalluzzo beat. TFC2 just get a little bit of luck that they probably deserve.
And Terry, I think you're right. I think that was Lomas number 9, not DeLuz number 6. The gold numbers on the white jerseys make it a little tricky to differentiate from up here.
Yeah, great strike from the substitute Lomas. He's been very lively since he's come on.
Monconi clears there for Toronto. Douay pushes forward. And some nervous moments here for Toronto.
They just need to see through this last little bit of pressure. Lomas causing all sorts of problem with his aerial threat.
It's cleared by Boscovich.
This is one of the things the first team does extremely well, is just soaking up pressure, being comfortable, no panic station. So I think for the players' development right now, this is just seeing through this last 3-4 minutes is going to be valuable.
2 minutes of time added on.
Another Kyle Becker set piece. TFC2 are going to have to defend here.
And North Carolina's got their final substitute ready to go, perhaps pending the result of this free kick coming from Becker. Becker's delivery is headed away by Boscovich.
Got to miss that near post man. He's better than that, Kyle Becker. TFC have just lost their shape a little bit, I think, with Waja going off.
That's Becker who's going to be coming off. It's Bernhard Luxbacher coming on.
Becker's worked his socks off tonight. Hasn't had probably as much joy going forward and been on the ball as much as he would have hoped, but definitely has quality. And you've seen it on set pieces today. Had a good shot in the first half that Rocco Romeo did well to get a block on.
Cavalluzzo falls on that as we are about 40 seconds away from full time. Push forward by Okello. There's Mino. Mino. Referee waves off any wrongdoing.
That's a foul. I think that's a smart fellow from Nova Okello to just break the play up. Surprised he's not given that. Thought Mino just wrong-footed him.
And the last gasp here for North Carolina. There's Luxbacher, and he puts it over the goal. Cavalluzzo got a piece of it, and it's going to be out for a corner.
What a chance for Luxberger. I think he does everything right. It's just an incredible save from Cavalluzzo. Great reaction, gets his left hand up there. One final set piece for TFC2 to defend. A couple of great late chances for North Carolina. Onconi almost concedes a penalty there as well. Tired defending.
Cleared away off the head of Mino, and that will do it. It's the full-time whistle. Toronto FC 2 with their first points of the season in this draw. North Carolina FC will collect a point for a second consecutive game. Angelo Cavalluzzo, the late hero, as he has been many nights for Toronto, getting a paw to this shot from Luxberger right off the inside of the arm, saves the game for Toronto. We'll wrap it up when we return to BMO Field. Wrapping up a 0-0 draw from BMO Field. Toronto FC 2, their home opener against North Carolina FC. A late save from Angelo Cavalluzzo is essentially the difference between Toronto getting a point tonight and not. Terry Cavalluzzo was not tested often, but big in the moments which he was. And Toronto had some chances earlier in the game. A couple of chances in the second half as well, but ultimately not able to find the back of the net.
Yeah, I think TFC2 will be happy with this performance. They've got a point now. They've got something to build on. I thought Sean Hundle had 2 glorious chances. I think he needs to score one of them, at least hit the target. I thought Aiden Daniels playing off this left-hand side in the front three, he was excellent. He looked dynamic. I think he relished being the skipper for the night today, caused all sorts of problems, drifting inside 1v1, had a couple of opportunities from outside of the box. Argentinian Minho, he was excellent. He was the best player on the park today. Just drifted into gaps. He was excellent in possession. I think he's comfortable receiving the ball under pressure, had some great slip passes. This was the Hundle chance in the second half. Creates half a yard for himself very well, just isn't able to hit the target. Becker's set-piece delivery was very good. He's got a great right foot, and this is the huge save from Cavalluzzo right at the depth of the game. Great reactions, gets his left foot, left hand up, tips it over the bar.
Here's our full-time stats. 17 shots for Toronto, an impressive total to 9 for North Carolina. 4-1 the shots on target. That one shot on target for North Carolina, the big save from Cavalluzzo at the end of the night. Possession numbers tilted a little bit towards the visitors, but a strong performance from the home side, as I mentioned, nets them their first point in this 2018 USL campaign. North Carolina will continue their Canadian road trip. They'll be in Ottawa on Saturday for their next match. Toronto, 1 week from tonight, will be in Richmond taking on the Kickers before returning home on Saturday, our next broadcast, as they host New York Red Bulls 2. For Terry Dunfield, I'm Matt Antonio. Thank you on behalf of our entire production crew. Have a good night from Toronto and an excellent Wednesday evening.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.